Good morning. This public hearing is now called to order. Today is Tuesday, April 27th, 2016. No, today is Wednesday, April 27th, 2016, and the time is now 7 minutes after 10 a.m. My name is Martha Robinson. I'm Associate General Counsel of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Also here today are Maureen Little of the Bureau of Environmental Investigations and Emergency Planning, and Kelly Chris, the Assistant Commissioner for the Environmental and Occupational, what is the
Environmental Disease and Injury
Prevention. We're here today for a public hearing on whether the Board of Health should adopt amendments to Article 131 of the New York City Health Code. A notice of intention to amend the article was published in the City Record on March 25th, 2016. A copy of the first page of the notice of intention has been provided to the reporter to include in the record. Persons wishing to speak at the hearing were asked to pre-register, but there were no people who did pre-register. However, there is one person who is ready to testify. Ms. Nealon, could you please just spell your name for the reporter?
Certainly. My name is Nora, N-O-R-A, Nealis, N-E-A-L-I-S. Ready to go? Okay. Good morning. My name is Nora Nealis, and I'm the Executive Director of the NCA, a neighborhood dry cleaning trade organization. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to comment on the proposed resolution to amend Article 131 of the New York City Health Code regarding perchloroethylene vapors in indoor air. First, I'd like to clarify the regulatory standards under which perc dry cleaners operate in New York City. While it is true they must meet the EPA mandates for dry cleaners nationwide, since 1997 they have also met far more stringent requirements of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, known as Part 232, and its mirror image adopted by New York City. In the interest of protecting the public health and in order to control fugitive emissions and protect the indoor air quality in adjoining spaces, New York City cleaners are the only ones in the nation who operate totally enclosed, self-recovering, and internal air scrubbing equipment to clean clothes. In addition, these machines are operated inside vapor-tight clean rooms with independent ventilation systems to the outer air. They are required to inspect their equipment weekly to ensure proper operation and to have annual compliance inspections conducted by a New York State licensed and DEC certified professional engineer, the results of which are submitted annually to New York State DEC. In addition, they are physically inspected by the New York City DEP every 3 years. Ours is the most protective regulation in the nation, and its adoption was supported by my organization, despite the fact that we knew the economic burden would result in plant closures. In fact, you should be aware that since the rules were adopted, approximately 1/2 of the on-premise dry cleaning plants in both New York State and New York City have closed their operations. In 1994, prior to the adoption of 232, there were about 2,000 plus cleaners in New York City. Today, there's slightly more than 1,000. I'm sure you can appreciate the kind of time and money commitment the neighborhood cleaners have made to be good neighbors, and if this proposed level of 30 micrograms per cubic is adopted, we believe it is only fair to insist that the resolution also require the level to be measured by the most reliable equipment to perform such analysis, a 24-hour vacuum canister. Understand that when expressed as a decimal point, that 30 micrograms is the equivalent of 0.0000000044. The number is infinitesimal. It can only be accurately measured by sophisticated equipment in the hands of trained professionals under prescribed conditions. In fact, New York State DEC mandates the use of 24-hour vacuum canisters in investigations of vapor intrusion. If we are going to require dry cleaners to take remedial measures over and above the extremely protective regulatory requirements, we must be sure of the extent of the problem that needs to be addressed, and that means the use of 24-hour vacuum canisters for air sampling. Anything less would be a disservice to both the neighboring residents and the dry cleaners. Secondly, you should be aware that there are alternative cleaning fluids that dry cleaners can use instead of PERC, and they are willing to make such a switch. However, these newer, environmentally friendlier fluids are Class 3 rated, and while the International Fire Code and National Fire Protection Association have determined them to be safe for installation when used in conjunction with state-of-the-art equipment that has built-in safety and fire suppression systems, the FDNY did not adopt the IFC and NFP exemption that would permit their use. Sadly, they require cleaners to install a full sprinkler system in conjunction with this new equipment and the use of these cleaning fluids. Since cleaners do not own their commercial space, the $100,000 investment in sprinklers is prohibitive. In addition, a similar investment in new cleaning equipment, installation, engineering fees, etc., make the changeover a $200,000 to $250,000 investment with no government assistance available in New York City or New York State. Should the FDNY not amend their code to conform with IFC and NFPA, and in the absence of that, should the New York City Council not propose and adopt a resolution mirroring the international codes and the National Fire Protection Association code, then I predict that the city will lose far more than just the half the neighborhood dry cleaners we lost last time around. No change in the code and no financial assistance is a death knell to this small business community. In conclusion, we request that the resolution mandate the use of 24-hour vacuum canisters for sampling, a change in the FDNY permit requirements for the use of Class 3 solvents so cleaners can curtail the use of PERC, and financial aid, or at the very least an exemption from the city sales tax when the purchase of new non-PERC equipment is made. I am available and will be happy to discuss any details with you. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Neal.
My pleasure.
Is there anybody else present who wishes to testify? There being no other persons present, this hearing is adjourned to about 11:45. It is now approximately 20 minutes of 12, and there being no further persons present to speak, this hearing is concluded.